So you left Jeffrey up there, though, huh? Okay. You can bring him back sometime.
He'll come back next week.
He'll come back next week, all right. That's good he's coming back next week, because next week's a very special week here at Creative Life. It's our annual Rites of Passage celebration. And Jeffrey and I are working something up. I think he may have told you, and I hope you'll join us with it, because we need a third. Yeah, that's right. And Melody's been rehearsing the kids. You got another rehearsal today. And this is the 16th annual one of these. It started out as a ritual bridge crossing for our children, changing classes on Sundays, changing age group classes. And now it's melted into all of us experiencing the change of the year, the wins, the losses, and everything in between by crossing a ritual bridge to a musical accompaniment. It's a sweet time. I hope you'll join us. One service only next week at 11. And I just gave Danielle a lot less to do when she comes up here for the announcements. So, I was telling Susan I'm 5 feet further to the left than where I usually am on a Sunday, so I'm out of my comfort zone here. I don't know who you people are, what do you want from me? There's this great book called Living the Science of Mind, and I've been pulling some passages out of it for us this month. These are encouraging letters. It's not real deep, and by that I mean it's not the Science Mind textbook, which in our new Heartfelt Living class we're running up against because it's heavy. This is not so heavy, but it's deep in the emotional engagement of it because it's powerful stuff, and it goes to the lyrics of Susan Elliott songs, and it goes to what we talked about last week about forgiveness and gratitude, letting go, and resentment and regret, what we could replace these with, and how it's a new thought takes the place of the old thought, and how everything moves in circles, and that brings us to today. And it brings us to what Emerson said in his wonderful essay entitled Circles, where he said the eye is the first circle, the world it beholds is the next. If you think about it, you feel the vision is circular. And so actually is your hearing. I think all your senses probably are. They go out, they work the perimeter, okay?
Yeah.
And they gather up the information, then they bring it back into the self. And the world is a circle. And all things move in a circular manner. The world is not a perfect circle, it's more of a sort of an egg-shaped kind of thing. Well, okay, the world moves in sort of an egg-shaped kind of thing. It's not precisely, you can't mark exactly where it's going to be. I had a lot more fun with Santa Claus's journeys before NORAD got involved. And you could follow online where exactly he was, because it still doesn't account for how he gets to all the households of the earth on one night. That takes magic. You can't do that within time and space. That needs something outside of time and space. And this is how the circle of metaphysical creativity works. It's outside of the bounds of time and space. Although Einstein said that time and space and even light bend back upon themselves. All things return home. Now that we know this, what do? We look to the place of beginning, which is within the self. To stay, as Emerson said, at home with the self. To stay at home with the self. Meaning this, how often have we thought that our good was dependent on somebody else's choices? Maybe somebody we knew, more likely somebody we didn't know. Somebody somewhere was making choices that were going to cascade down to us. And there was nothing really we could do about that but wait and react when things came rolling in. Metaphysical teaching says you are at the point of limitless creativity within yourself in the world right now. You make the choice, the world listens, the world pays attention. You don't make choices about other people. You make choices about how you're going to position your consciousness in terms of life. And the people, as well as the conditions and materials and supplies and everything else that are congruent to that, will make their way to you. You have an idea and the world comes running. Emerson said, why am I saying Emerson said like every, because we have an Emerson class going on. So I'm steeped in Emerson right now. Later this year, we'll have an Emma Hopkins class. Then you'll get Emma Hopkins every third paragraph, you know? But what Emerson did say, Emerson said, tell the truth. I love this. I bring this up all the time. Tell the truth and the sick will be carried in litters. He was being poetic. In other words, you stand there and stand in your truth, and people will bring situations, they'll bring their ailing family members to you for you to heal them. In other words, you will have become a Christed one. Stand in your truth and the sick will be carried in litters. People are tired of being lied to. They're tired of prevarications. They're tired of nonsense. They're tired of being insulted. At county fairs, there's a thing called the dunk tank. Have you ever seen a dunk tank? Yeah. Well, what happens is there's an individual who sits on kind of a little platform that's attached to a lever contraption, and this person insults passers-by at the county fair, who then pay 4 bits for a heavily weighted wet sponge that they throw at a target that trips the lever that drops the offending individual into a tank of water. And you try to catch them off guard so that they're like breathing in water and come up spluttering and all it is. And it's basically an enacted cheap revenge fantasy for whoever has ever insulted you in your life. Don't you wish you could do that? You just have them go sploosh. But you can't do that most of the time, but you can with this person who chooses to make their summer back to school money sitting on the stool when we throw the sponge at the target. But why I'm telling you this is there was an article in the paper that says people aren't buying. The dunk tank is going away. The funnel cakes, still rocking along. The cotton candy, the guess your weight booth, all the rest of this is still happening, but the dunk tank is going away. Why? People are tired of being insulted. They get insulted enough. It used to be funny, now it isn't. It used to be funny to be picked on for how you looked or something like this, and everybody just thought it was a grand old time, and not so anymore. People are more sensitive. I think of it as a good thing. People are coming into their power. I will decide what to fill my head with. I will decide what my story is. You don't tell me, even in fun, even for 4 bits at the county fair. I will decide what to affirm and what to deny. And this is how we stand in our creative power. The metaphysical part of it, or as some call it, the woo-woo part. That's the technical term. The woo-woo part of it is that when you do this, stuff happens around you that cannot be explained. And you attract to yourself, as I said earlier, people, conditions, circumstances that are congruent to what you believe yourself to be. You can flat out make it up. And the world will beat a path to your door. You can decide that you're a powerful, capable, creative being in some area or other with no experience, no education, no references, basically no nothing. And people will come to you and they'll stand there and they'll say, so you have something to say. For instance, look at the musicians now who are getting play off of homemade videos that they put up on YouTube. They used to take what they called in the old days an A&R man, artist and repertoire. You used to take somebody, you had to know somebody who knew somebody who got you some recording time in the studio, and you put out a demo tape, and it got shopped around to this one and this one, and it went through, and eventually if you landed the thing, you got signed to a label, to an existing label, and then you had a contract, and then you had to fulfill the contract. You had a 2 or 3 album thing, or however this music dropped, but it was like a book deal, and you had to live up to these contractual things. Now people are putting stuff out, and before anybody can clear their throats, to draw up contracts and get all businesslike about it, they've got 50 million hits or something on YouTube. People are watching this. That's democracy in action. And the people who say, wait, I can help you with this, they're running along behind with pens and contracts and stuff. Well, it's all happening. This is getting launched and put out there. Are you a poet? We had a poetry workshop here at the center recently. People are like, oh, I'm not a poet. because I didn't major in poetry. Well, no one really does. You're a poet if you have poetry in your soul, and I've yet to meet the person who doesn't. Poetry plus nerve equals being a poet. Really. You just put it out there, and it doesn't have to scan, and it doesn't have to rhyme, and you can forget what you heard about the foot, what is it now, the cadence, the meter, and all of the rest of it. The iambic foot. There's a style that you're taught in. There's nothing wrong with the classical training, but it's a scaffolding that falls away. You see, when you perform. Are you classically trained? Okay. You have a wonderful technique on the keyboard. And well, here's one who was Elton John, famously, right? You know, Royal Conservatory and stuff. Billy Joel was classically trained, and they had this amazing talent, but they're not playing classical music. So what did they have to have happen? The scaffolding fell away so that their creativity could come out. There's nothing wrong with knowing the language before you put the words down, but you don't have to, because there's somebody right now who has no background in anything, and they're bursting through with some amazing creative gift. Do you have an idea for a product or an invention? Do you have an idea for exploration or discovery? What do you want to create in the world? You can do this, and nothing will stand in your way but your own self-confidence, which is why I'm here, and it's why this place is here, is to boost self-confidence. Because I've known people for many years who kind of aw shucks about, I'd like to, but I can't. And it's like we gather you up and we just dust you off, and off you go, and you do this great thing, and there you can, and now you have the confidence to do it. When you have the confidence to do it, people want to hear you. They want to sit in your presence. They're like, this person looks like they know what they're doing. And people are not critical as much as we think they are. They're not as judgmental about this if you miss a note or you miss a word here and there. It's the feeling they're looking for. And it's the feeling that you're looking for. The feeling of having your needs easily and naturally met. And more than that also, we were talking about this in a class yesterday. I said there are two things that this teaching really is about. One is a sense of the sacred, fostering a sense of the sacred in everyday life. And you want nothing from that. You're not asking it to do something for it. It's just a sense of the sacred. The other part of it is the practical use of the sense of the sacred. Now that I know this, now that I feel this, what can I create with this? And this is where manifestation comes in such techniques as spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. But not everybody knows affirmative prayer. We're working on it, have been for a long time. But everybody can have a sense of the sacred, because they are the sacred. They are the beloved. They are the God seed. They are, however you want to style it, they are that. They are the bodhisattva, happening right where they are. And they can have that experience. Then, it's just a short hop, skip, and a jump from there to the affirmative knowing that because I am the experience that the divine is having of itself in the world at this time by means of me, that now I can do something useful with that. I can love. I can forgive. I can believe in a flow. Let me read you something he says in this essay. Our thought does not go out to influence persons or things. What it does is readjust our own consciousness, our own thinking, to include a larger and a more harmonious field of action. We learn that when we get our own consciousness straightened out, things in our external world adjust themselves to meet our new and better inward awareness. Isn't that great? Adjust themselves. Adjust themselves. Let's dwell on that. I was taught, as you probably were, to adjust stuff. I'm a very good adjuster. So are you. I can turn the dials on creation. I can, people, situations, things, adjust it to have it be how I want. This is suggesting I'm duplicating my efforts. It will adjust itself. Life will persist in exhibiting before you, me, him, her, them, what we persist in affirming the world is. That's Emma Hopkins, so you get more of it later. But the world will persist in exhibiting what we persist in affirming. Why? To let us know that we're affirming it. For simply that transfer of information, not, as you might have suspected, as punishment or reward, but simply as information. If you believe the world is a hard and difficult place filled with stupid, intractable people, they will show up. Emma Hopkins talked about this. She said, you will walk the streets of our major cities and find vast herds of plain-looking people. Vast herds, H-E-R-D-S, vast herds of plain-looking people heading at you. I picture cattle. What else am I supposed to think, right? I picture cattle, vast herds of what? She says, you know what that is? That's your own judgments. Those are your own judgments coming back to you to show you that you have made them. It's not about them. It's not about, gosh, can't we fix those people? It's about, gosh, can't I heal my judgments? You tell somebody you're going somewhere on your vacation, and they'll tell you, oh, the people there, oh man, there's a story. There's a story about places. There's a story about times and cultures and all the rest of this, as though it were objective. Nothing is objective, really. It's all subjective to the beholding consciousness, but we buy into this. The example I used at 9:30 was traffic, because it's a simple and for us pointed example in part of the world we live in. Traffic is people. Traffic doesn't roll out of a warehouse Monday morning and head out. It's you and me on our way to do whatever it is we do. And the people say, oh, Monday, I can't face the Monday morning traffic and stuff, and so they expect it to be difficult, so it gets to show up for them as being difficult. The people who've suddenly forgotten how to drive arrive on the freeway at the same time as you for the purpose of pointing out to you that this is what you have affirmed. Whereas if you wait 5 minutes, you know it's funny, if you leave 5 minutes later or earlier, it's like clear sailing. It's like, where is everybody? Okay? Would you like to be in that where is everybody sort of mood on your way to work? Then here's what I suggest you do, and you can apply this in any area of life. So why we make such a big deal in teachings like these of being on purpose. Have a purpose, have a plan. Even if your plan is just simple enjoyment, it doesn't have to involve money or any kind of commercial transaction necessarily, but have a plan. You're heading somewhere to do something. You're heading somewhere to do something means with a tip of the hat to the Blues Brothers, you are on a mission from God. You're on a mission from God. And the seas will part, and the traffic will clear out, and everything will, and before you know it, you'll realize, I'm almost there. You know this because you've done it. Deliberately or unintentionally, you've done it. You've focused on what I'm going to do when I get to the place, get to work, let's say. What I'm going to do when I get there in the project that's waiting for me, and I got some calls to make, and you're all up in that. And the next thing you know, and you're not swearing at the traffic, and you're not, beads of sweat and all. You're just driving, boom, boom, there you are. How easy that is. How easy that is. Because if you want to drive for pleasure, you can run out in the country, and just let the car out and enjoy those 6 cylinders, however many you have, purring away under. We're not allowed to have 8 anymore. So 6 purring away under the hood. You just. But today you go to work because today you have a plan. Today you've got some purposeful thing to do. Have your life be on purpose. You know what else will happen? Your body will work better. There won't be as much nagging, congested kind of stuff because you've got stuff to do. One of my heroes, you sing about him, Bucky Fuller, inventor of the geodesic dome, holder of more patents than anyone since Edison, slept 4 90-minute, think it was 90 minutes. I'll have to look it up. 4 90-minute shifts in a 24-hour period. Defying all logic. Because he had stuff to do. He had stuff to do. And he lived to a ripe old age, healthily. We hear these stories all the time. We want to take it to an extreme when we hear stories like this. Does this mean I can leap tall buildings with a single bound? Does this mean I can outrun a speeding bullet? What I'm saying is life works better when you have a plan and stuff circles back around to you. Once you made the plan, once you've articulated it and affirmed it, dropped it into law, then what you want to do is stand still and let it come to you. Ever since it heard your name, joy has been running through the streets trying to find you. You know that quote. Just stand still. Your good is guaranteed. Your good is coming to you. Your good is coming to you the way John Burroughs in this poem puts it. Serene I fold my hands and wait, nor care for wind, nor tide, nor sea. I rave no more against time or fate, for lo, my own shall come to me. I stay my haste, I make delays, for what avails this eager pace? I stand amid the eternal ways, and what is mine shall know my face. Asleep, awake by night or day, the friends I seek are seeking me. No wind could drive my bark astray, nor change the tide of destiny. What matter if I stand alone? I wait with joy the coming years. My heart shall reap where it hath sown, and garner up its fruit of tears. The waters know their own and draw, the brook that springs at yonder height. So flows the good with equal law unto the soul pure delight. The stars come nightly to the sky, the tidal wave unto the sea. Not time, nor space, nor deep, nor high can keep my own away from me. It can't be kept away because you complete the circle. You complete the circle of creation. You are that necessary inserted part into the vast loop of things, without which it would spiral off into oblivion. It needs you there as this bridge. And I think of this little bitty bridge that we bought at a garden store some years ago. We had a bigger bridge and it fell apart, so we got a little tight little bridge. And I think of that, and that bridge is that piece that finishes the circle. It's the circle of life from last year and what we've gained and what we've lost, what we've surrendered, how we've grown, you know. And we need that little piece in consciousness to carry us into the next step. You are as needed, you are as needed, you are as vital, just as you are. I was talking to someone recently I just met who said, I'm 40 now, and I don't know what I'm going to do in my life. And for people who are beyond 40, you know. But I could say that and have somebody in their 80s or 90s be like, you know, there's always somebody to laugh at you. There's always somebody to throw the sponge and drop you into the tank, too. But the fact of the matter is, every moment creation is waiting for you to pick up your purpose and go and go and go. And if you don't, finally this wonderful line that goes around creative life. All our classes and the cited, it could be written over the door out here. If you don't know what you want to do, how would you feel if you did? How would you feel if you did? And ask yourself that. Go into that feeling and let it tell you, because your good is seeking you. So let's know together now there is one life, one power, one presence. We know this, just one, and whatever we call it, it's just words. We know it as a feeling. We know it as a sensation. We know it as emotion and an action and a reaction. We know it as all form and all potential. And here's the best part, it knows us. This isn't just some idle philosophy that we picked up about what might be in the abstract. realm of things. No, there is something there that knows us so intimately, so exquisitely. It's not a personality, it's bigger than that, it's better than that. It's not a being, it is beingness. And it knows us as the experience that it is having in this world at this time by means of us. It knows us as its creative agent. Here's what it does not know about us: our failures, our breakdowns, the time we dropped the ball, the time we blew our lines, the time we missed our cues. It doesn't know any of this about us. It just knows yes. It just knows I am, I am, I am, I am. This is the well at which we drink. In doing so, we are filled with a new light and a new life and a new purpose and a new passion. And we may be assured that before the sun sets on this day, that everything necessary to the enactment of that passion in solid, tangible form will have made its way to us. The props, the sets, the instruments, everything filled in around us for our own fulfillment and the greater glory of the all. For this knowing, the way that it rolls out in form. I am so deeply grateful. I release this word now into the infinite, calling it done, and so it is.
So it is.
Once again, would you please welcome Susan Elliott.